Welcome to episode 5 of Batang 90s Pop, ang show where we talk about all things 90s. Shout out nga pala to the millions of viewers through Mint TV, whether you're chilling at home or during this pandemic, or stuck in your commute, makijam mo na kayo sa amin at ating talakayin at balikan ang mga nakakatuwang topics na nagisna ng mga titos at titas ng henerasyon ngayon. You can also listen to the podcast up on Anchor FM and its link affiliates like Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcast. At kasama ko ngayon ang aking co-host na si Mark. Pagpaumahin niyo po muna wala ang ating Mr. George pero next week babalik na po siya. Ang ating co-host ngayon ay si Mr. Mark. Mark, kamusta?
Magandang. Wala lang. It's just lang. Somehow kami ni hello, good evening Miss K. So somehow medyo extra yung feeling namin. Medyo we're feeling a little bit extra because Mr. George has to be away and we have to hold the fort, ika nga. So yun. So I'm really happy because we actually have guests tonight and medyo I think we're gonna be a full house. And I'm here to support our interim moderator, Miss K.
Thank you, Mark. Salamat sa iyong suporta. At first time sa show na meron tayong mga guests. So, pinapakilala po namin sa inyo ang mga guests namin para samahan tayo ngayon sa ating topic na urban legends nung panahon ng 90s. Pinapakilala natin ngayon ang ating mga guests, si Mr. JP at ang Mr. Jacob Puzon of SBCH Gaming. Hello guys. Hi JP. Hi Jacob.
Hi,
Thank you for joining
Hello.
us.
Hello guys.
Hello, good
Thank you for
evening,
having
guys.
us. Thank you for having us.
So let's just clarify for our viewers. So the guy, medyo malapit ang mga kulay niyo eh. The guy in red is Mr. Jacob. And then, meron nga palang nameplates. And then, si Mr. JP ang naka-maroon. Ayan.
Yes.
Alright. So, welcome to the
certified
show.
titos.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. A little bit introduction lang for you guys. So, Mr. JP, can you introduce yourself, your profession, and what you do?
I'm JP Lopez. I'm a lawyer actually, and then
Wow.
I used to specialize in annulment, but right now I don't practice so much right now. Right now I'm working for the government, and I'll just leave it at that.
Alright. Thank you for your service, sir.
Hindi ko na i-disclose kung saan mismo.
Salamat.
Mamaya pag-usapan natin.
Mamaya yan.
And we have Jacob. Jacob, can you introduce yourself?
So hello guys, my name is Jacob. I'm a former HR practitioner. Currently, I'm a programmer. Layo, no?
Grabe.
So there. Aspiring to be a pro gamer. So there.
Wow.
Nice. I think you're leaving out a very important detail.
Ano yun?
Tama ba?
Siya ang better half ng SBCH Gaming composed of me and Jacob. Yun. Because we're a couple.
There you go.
Sa mga audience out there at mga nakikinig sa atin.
Watch
So,
It's so nice to know that love is alive in quarantine.
how we
ano
do
nga
LDR,
lockdown
my
relationship.
podcast.
Sabi nga nila. So, ang ating topic for this week ay about urban legends or yung mga nausong kasabihan or kwentong bayan nung 90s. And hindi ko na papatagalin. Ano muna yung urban legend para sa atin? So, para sa akin kasi ang urban legend or ang mga kwentong bayan na nabuo nung 90s ay para siyang isang uri ng or isang genre ng mga istorya or mga kwento na napagpasapasahan from your parents or your titos and titas. And then it's also that's why it's called urban legend because hindi lang siya sa rural. So, sa city, ang kadalasang venue ng mga legends na yan. So, kaya siya tinawag. So, kayo, sa mga guest ko at sa co-host ko na si Mark, ano ba sa inyo ang urban legend? Growing up in the 90s, ano ba yung pagkakaintindi nyo sa urban legend? Mark?
Okay, so basically it's not fact-based. Ang urban legend is not fact-based. Like as you said, urban, so it's based in the city. So nandito sa syudad kung saan tayo nakatira. But it heavily involves yung mga bagay that we interact with every day. Whether it's a street, it's a kind of food, or a regular occurrence. Ganon. So, for example, yung nangyari dun sa ostrich, this is just news. It's not an urban legend per se. But if you say na there's actually ang sabi-sabi na ang Quezon City is actually isang breeding site for many ostriches. That's actually an urban legend. And parang may mga may mga cases to point that out. That would be an urban legend, not just the incident of the
Right.
the ostrich escaping. So yeah, so it's really part of what we grew up with, and I am sure we'll take up the topic more later. We will.
Salamat, Mark. Sa ating mga guest ko today, Sir JP, ikaw, ano ba sa tingin mo or ano ba ang pagkakaintindi mo nung while growing up in the 90s, kung narinig mo na ba yung mga urban legend, or ano ang pagkakaintindi mo or ano ang pagkaka-differentiate mo sa urban legend from horror stories, from superstitious belief, ganun.
Actually, I take a different approach. For me, they're closely intertwined. Parang all of these things are intertwined. But generally, an urban legend is something, it starts out as something like a rumor, but it becomes so widespread that so many other people try to believe it, and it becomes part of yung, I guess, in pop culture, whatever you may call it. It just becomes part of urban. Mga city, when the stories that go around the city, it starts out as a rumor, it gets so spread, but
Correct.
it becomes somewhat like a
Right.
legend.
Exactly.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
Correct.
About you, Jacob, ano naman ang pagkakaintindi mo sa urban legend while growing up in the 90s?
Okay, so share ko lang konti kasi ako growing up very gullible akong tao, you know.
That's
I
true, that's
believe
true.
I believe actually hanggang ngayon so well, it helped me become a skeptic person. Pero ang dali ko maniwala basically sa kahit anong marinig ko nun. So for example, yung pag hindi ako nag-behave, hindi ako nag-aral, pag-aralin ako sa Wawa School, yung mga ganun, naniniwala ako dun. And I think those things are designed either one to instill discipline based on fear, or two, well, sobrang bored lang ng mga tao and lakas nila mag-trip. Parang ganun yung dating sa akin. But it works more on the former, yung parang instilling discipline through fear. So stories are made up para
Para matakot ka as a kid,
para matakot
no?
to make a kid comply. I mean, for me kasi it pretty much worked at in most cases kaya yun.
Mabait ka pala, sir. Napakabait ka pala.
So, mabait yan. Totoo
Well,
ba? Joke lang.
high level attested. Meet ako,
Thank you sa mga sa mga insight nyo. Oo nga, tama kayo, Sir JP and Jacob, kasi nung bata tayo, 'di ba, pag may mga nakwento yung mga magulang natin or yung mga nakakatanda sa atin, naniniwala tayo tapos natatakot tayo or hindi na natin gagawin or hindi na natin, let's say may sinabi, huwag kang pupunta dyan, may ganyan dyan, hindi ka nagpupunta doon, di ba? So, behave ka na lang sa bahay, mga ganon. So, yun yung mga mindset na binigay sa atin ng bata tayo growing up in the 90s. So, talagang medyo, memorable. Kasi nung panahon na yun, wala pang masyadong, wala pang Google, hindi mo mag-google kung totoo ba siya or hindi, di ba? So, maniniwala ka na lang talaga.
Yeah. Ako, maybe to add to that, halimbawa ko yung mga tito ko nagkwento sila about, let's say, the Bermuda Triangle or ano. Nung bata ako, it made a strong impression. Very impressionable. Tama naman si Jacob, na very impressionable tayo as kids, and wala tayong means to double check or like to cross check, 'di ba? Ngayon kasi yung mga kids, you know what, when kunyari nung sinabi ko na actually the virus was yung na siya na nanggaling siya sa isang laboratory, military lab, ganyan. So mahilig kasi ako sa conspiracy theories. My niece, who is based in the States, she actually sent me links refuting otherwise. Refuting yung what I just said. So
Dinismit niya
with
sa'yo.
maraming exactly, the technology is also there na parang hindi porke sinabi ng tito mo totoo. Ganun.
Tama.
Yun. So
So, based from that, nung 90s, ang daming na-invento or ang daming naglabasang urban legends eh. Meron, of course, meron din sa ibang provinces, meron din sa Manila. And syempre, growing up in Metro Manila, tumatak talaga sa atin yung mga urban legends na na-invento nung time natin or nung 90s. And based from that, dito sa Batang 90s podcast, nagkaroon kami ng top 5 na commonly heard na urban legends. And as I give you guys the urban legend, just let me know if you or what you think or kung narinig niyo ba siya as growing up or nung narinig niyo ba siya nung bata. And let's see. So, una dito is yung sabi nila, there's a manananggal in Metro Manila that caused panic during it was 1992 and kasabay siya nung 'di ba nung 1990s, nung early 90s nagkaroon tayo ng rotational brownout. So nagkaroon ng mga ng reports na allegedly may mga nakita sila or site sila na manananggal. So kayo ba narinig niyo yun nung bata kayo or I mean na experience niyo ba siya na napag-usapan siya sa lugar niyo, sa household niyo, ganon?
Honestly,
Yung
ako
manananggal in Yes, sir.
yung fear sa manananggal, ingrained sa akin because there's a time, yung summer spent sa province eh. Kaya when in the city, to be honest, nakakatakot rin yun, di ba? Parang lalo na, let's say, yung may maririnig ka sa roof bigla sa gabi, ay yung manananggal, parang gano'n. So, gano'n nga, yung city. Pero nakakatakot niya. Siyempre, naririnig rin namin yun as kids na parang dagdag panakot rin sa amin. Tulad sinabi, huwag kang lumabas, nandiyan yung manananggal. Na parang
Exactly.
it really became part of it. Oo. So, but yeah, it freaked me out if you to be honest.
Especially sa Metro Manila, 'di ba? Para kasi 'di ba sabi mo nga Sir JP, yung na-experience mo 'yan, yung ganyang fear nung nasa province ka kasi talagang common yung ganung mga istorya ng mga manananggal. Tapos biglang nagkaroon sa Metro Manila nung time na
And
yun.
it carried
So, parang
kala mo safe ako dito, pero biglang hinabol
pero
ka
din
ng
dito.
Oo.
Yeah.
right.
So yun.
So, nakakapraning.
About you, Jacob, narinig mo ba yan nung growing up in Posh Village? Nung time na yun?
Siguro compared kay Sir JP, mas takot ako sa manananggal nung bata. Kasi growing up in the urban city, 'di ba? Parang yung idea na mga aswang, parang hindi sa'yo yun eh. Hindi sa'yo familiar. So parang pagka nagkakayayaan, let's say, yung family na, oy, mag-Batangas tayo or punta tayo ng Pampanga, natatakot na ako. Ayoko na. Sabi ko,
Ayaw mo
ayoko
na
sumama. Kasi na-ingrain sa utak natin, sa utak ko na parang doon nanggagaling yung mga ganong klaseng creatures. So parang, I mean, ayoko maka-experience. Parang, kung totoo man o hindi, parang I don't want to find out. Parang ganon. Pero yes, very much. Well, eventually,
And then go ahead.
Nakabasa ako ng Pugad Baboy comic strip. Shoutout kay Mr. Paul Medina. Yung parang dinedepict niya yung mga manananggal in a funny way. So slowly parang ay mukhang joke time to Parang, ganun.
Ako I share yung experience ni JP no. Kasi yung lolo ko was one of the more popular hilot sa pagsanghan pagsanghan yung father side ko. And alam mo yun, pag minsan pagbabakasyonin ka ng parents mo dun sa province. So, there was a time na nagbakasyon ako doon. Tapos, parang, well, it was kind of, I also saw it as punishment. No? Shout out daw kay Ian Kyle Kalingasin. So, hello sa'yo. Happy viewing. So yun, so yung lolo ko, meron siyang buntot pagi. So actually he had like yung buntot pagi is like a manta ray, yung sting nung manta ray. Yeah, yung buntot niya. And yung talagang yung nakahang siya sa and then nung gabi, since parang malungkot ako kasi parang feeling ko ito sa punishment that I had to stay sa province, and doon kasi mahina sagap ng TV So malungkot talaga ako ganyan. My grandfather actually gave me yung parang a spell. Yung parang spell ganyan na to dispel yung manananggal kasi yun yung kinakatakutan ko nung time na yun. So, going back to dun sa city, it's very easy to kasi actually, yung generation ng parents natin, ng mga batang 90s, galing sila lahat from the province. Like, I'm sure if you ask your parent, hindi sila, more often than not, hindi sila galing sa Manila. Galing sila sa province.
Right.
So, nadadala yung mga ganong stories, yung mga ganong So, yung mga rural, nagiging urban. So, actually, well, I don't know if you guys will agree with me, pero, kunyari, yung rotational brownouts, para less yung complaints, yung misdirect talaga the powers that be.
Kasi
yung,
I remember, di ba, nung rotational brownout nung 90s, di ba? Tapos yun nga, nagkaroon ng panic about dun sa manananggal sightings daw. And meron talagang nilabas sa news na, sa TV Patrol, if I remember correctly, na parang lola siya na ang haba ng buhok niya, tapos yung kuko niya parang wala siyang bed ng nails, parang yung kuko niya nakatusok diretso sa daliri niya. So parang sa news, parang ito yung manananggal, nahuli na raw nila, parang gano'n. So parang yung isip ng tao about or para mag-complain dun sa rotational brownout tsaka dun sa DST noong time na yun. Nag-focus dun sa ginawa nilang parang may something na pag-usapan. Kaya nagkaroon ng urban legend nung time na yun. Manananggal daw in Manila, di ba? Nagkaroon pa nga ng movie, di ba? Manananggal in Manila, parang gano'n. So, yun. Aside from that's our number 5. Ang ating number 4 naman is ang Star Mall Alabang ay dating sementeryo, 'di ba? Tapos ang sabi nila, kapag nanood ka ng movie at then pag tapos ng movie, pagbukas ng ilaw, ikaw lang pala yung tao pero akala mo nung nanood ka marami kayo. So, especially you, Jacob, kasi I know you're living from the south. You live in the south, 'di ba? So, anong kwento diyan? I-explain mo. I mean, baka may gusto ka i-share na mas narinig ng mga taga-south na hindi alam namin mga taga-north, mga taga-QC, ganito.
Bale, 15 years ago pa naman to, babes. So, hindi pa tayo magkakalala noon. May ka-date ako noon
Ay, yun ang urban legend.
Urban legend
ka-date ni sir.
Yun yung urban legend. Hindi, joke lang. So, nanood kami sa sine. Nakalimutan ko na yung pinanood namin. Pero action flick siya. And kasi pag weekdays, konti lang talaga yung tao walang masyadong nanonood. Tapos I would say yung mga tumatakas na estudyante na nagde-date kasi puro couples I mean, hiwa-hiwalay lang kayo ng pwesto tapos kanya-kayo ng spot ganyan. So action movie, 'di ba? May mga sumasabog. There were times na pag ako siguro kung timing lang, pag every time na may boom action, may parang kumakalabit sa amin. Hindi lang ako yung nakaramdam, naramdaman na rin ng girl.
Oo.
So, ako parang hindi ko alam kung pinagtitripan ba ako o parang something. Yung girl naman, parang dumada moves ba to or something ganyan. So okay.
Siya ba yung dumamoves?
What an excuse. Ito siya ghost. Go on, kinikilabutan ako siya.
Iniisip niya dumada moves ako. Ang iniisip ko naman walang tao bakit parang may kumakalabit sa akin. Siguro ang akin siguro I didn't think much about it pero it stuck to me because parang one siguro dahil ayun nga the setting was very dark, it was very
Right.
intimate so to speak dahil wala nga nanonood masyado.
Right,
And
right.
ano siya knowing at the back of your mind na parang natin itong sementeryo, oh my God, so parang ganun.
So, doon mo na experience or doon mo na-realize na there's really the urban legend about the Star Mall, there's really truth about behind that or
Oo,
parang
parang may
Oo.
merit siya.
I think yan yung mga rare sa urban legends, yung first-hand experience. Kasi most of it is just hearsay eh. Masarap siya pag-usapan, but you actually don't have yung first-hand experience. So, I'm riveted. Yung ngayong pinakikinggan ko that somebody actually experienced something, whether, it's real or not, or talaga nagdadamoves talaga si Sir. I mean, again, it's a proof point, di ba? Yeah, attorney.
And parang like you're saying, parang sabi ni Sab, tropa ng tropa ko, sabi niya ganun eh. Parang I can usually ganyan. Pero ito, mas direct hand experience from Jacob, diba? So, parang, you know someone who really experienced
Baka
it. But
nanonood
usually,
yung girl
Oo,
Shout
sabi niya
out-
siguro,
shout,
ghost? Ako yung ginost mo.
shout out dun sa girl. Ayun.
Shout out sa girl, ako na yung bagong girlfriend. Peace.
yung pala yung ghost na nangyari.
About you, Sir JP, meron ka bang, sabay ganun na, about you, Sir JP, meron ka bang, narinig mo na ba siya before, nung 90s, yung about sa Star Mall,
that Star Mall alabang kwento will always be ingrained in my head, especially let's say, nauwi kami sa Batangas, diba? So sa South Super, nadadaanan mo yung Star Mall.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Ating sa may, Star Mall, yung So that always, and in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to try watching a movie there, just for the heck of it, kasi parang, ano kaya vibe doon? Kasi sa kwento niyo nangyari. And palagi ko tinatakot yung mga ano kaya kung walang tao? And then naalala ko yung sa Pugad Baboy rin, di ba? Yung kwento, yung yung mga types na kasama mo. So parang, kumulto yung horror.
Stig, no?
Yeah. Did you ever come around? Do you get around to verify? I mean, just trying, watching a movie and.
There?
Try mo.
No. Siyempre,
No.
malayo mo siya sa bahay para I was not that curious enough to drive all the way there to to try it out. So napapalaan lang.
Good decision.
Curious, at
Good
least
decision.
first-hand experience.
Good decision.
Ayun. So, salamat sa mga inputs nyo about that. Ako din kasi with Sir JP's experience, ako din kapag nanggagaling ng South, tas napapadaan doon, lagi kaming napapa-wonder, uy, may muan dyan, di ba? May mumu dyan. Ganon. So, parang baka may magpakita sa sasakyan or something, ganon, pero wala naman so far. And nakapasok din ako sa Star Mall itong college na. So, wala naman. Hindi siya...
Tapos iba rin ka-date mo.
Iba rin ka-date. Hindi.
Baka ikaw yung kumakalabit sa amin nun, ha?
Hindi ko pa na-try. Try ko nga. Ayun. So, yun yung natin, pang-apat. Pangatlong urban legend, isa sa mga pinakasikat.
Quick trivia lang pala about Star Mall.
Sige.
It really was a cemetery prior to being bought by
Villar.
Yung company ni Manny Villar. Dinevelop na lang nila. Pero it was a cemetery.
So that is confirmed. The cemetery talaga.
That is confirmed, yes.
And then it's very likely na, if you believe in, if you are a Christian, you believe in the afterlife, it's very likely na, diba? That something is there. Is it, diba? Yeah.
Tama.
Okay.
It's possible.
Ayun. So,
Next.
ang pangatlo natin is yung ito, something to do with cinema again. Baka may experience ka ulit ng Jacob about that. So, ito naman, kapag nanood ka raw ng movie, let's say mag-isa ka lang, tapos wala kang katabi, parang suddenly may tatabi sa'yo at may mag-inject sa'yo ng isang blood or syringe na may blood ng isang infectious disease. So, yun, isa rin yun sa mga naalala ko nung 90s kasi parang naging ano yun naging noong time na yun nag-bloom yung usapan about that kind of disease, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So, yun, isa yun sa mga na pabalita na parang wag kayo pumunta ng mga sinehan kasi may ganyan-ganyan. So, yun. So, sa aking co-host and to our guest, do you also heard about this before? Yung ganung story? Mark, how about you?
Well, definitely. I remember hearing about it in school. And tama ka, nung time na yon, and I'm gonna say it out loud, ano? Yung usapin was about really the AIDS, and of course we want to be careful about how we talk about, how we talk about this topic, because of course people are suffering, ganyan, and there's a lot of stigma that that people are actually working towards, in fact, di ba, si Miss Universe natin wants, to lessen the stigma on AIDS and all
Yes.
that na you see there are also people, pero at the time it was a different time na it was actually there was a scare, nung parang there was a rise in cases probably around the world, and in fact there was a movie about it, yung Philadelphia, yung si Tom Hanks, that was about a man with AIDS, and he was discriminated against. So it was a hot topic, pero of course it didn't escape the the becoming an urban legend in itself. And yeah, yung tatakutin ka, mag-e-eskapo ka sa eskwelahan tapos pupunta ka ng sine. Mamaya maturok ka, and then you'll get a note after saying welcome to the world of so and so. Ganon. So it really implies that yes, panakot siya. It really implies na parang there is this really sinister movement to include people in in the infection, which is really the stigma, sobrang bad. Attorney, you have some thoughts?
Actually, yeah, that kwento rin, yung kwento yan tungkol about sa AIDS na yun, yung injection, it went around grade, I think, I can't remember, I was grade school definitely, parang talod kami takutan. So talod sila, even school. So we were all, naparaninglan kami, but later on, in fact, pero ito yung baliktad, imbis na manakot, galing yung teacher namin, kunento sa amin, huwag kayong matakot sa ganyan. She explained in our grade school minds, in proper science.
Galing.
Yung teacher itself.
Amazing.
Our fear. Parang tinanggal yung takot namin. Pero yes, definitely yung kwento na yan, takutan na naku, paano yan AIDS? And in fact, it really, but it really, I think it caused some sort of fear. Kaya I think it was good that our teacher educated us with proper talaga kung it's not.
And that's wonderful. I think educators should really be involved Like kunyari pag may narinig silang ganyan, 'di ba? Kasi they are our second home, 'di ba? Kasi yung secondary parents natin sila. And yeah, that's really wonderful. I mean, commendable yung ginawa ng teacher mo.
Galing ng
Shout out
approach
to her or him.
Oo.
Galing. Yeah.
Especially during nung 90s, medyo yung stigma na yun, medyo talaga malakas yung nun
Oo. So it was good na at least parang, pero yes, it was really nakakapraning kasi parang death sentence at that time. So,
True.
Tama.
Right.
Ayun.
Yeah.
How about you, Jacob? Any, may experiences or narinig mo siya nung bata ka, growing up?
To be honest, hindi ko siya masyadong napansin. Kumaga kasi, well, may mall kasi malapit sa school namin, so parang I've heard people talking about it. Pero hindi ko siya masyadong binigyan notice. Siguro parang naalala ko lang siya due to the fact na it happened during the time na si Magic Johnson also revealed that he had AIDS. So,
Yeah.
But that's about it. I mean, I don't have that much personal experience about it. So tumatakla siya sa utak ko because of that.
Okay. Thanks guys. And ito yung pangalawa sa ating urban legend na sumikat talaga nung 90s at napag-usapan siya kahit saan, is yung mga miming or yung mga pusa ay ginagawang siopaw. So nung 90s, di ba parang nadidiri kang kumain ng siopaw. Kasi inisip mo, baka pusa to. So, you avoided the siopaw. Pero kahit masarap siya, ayaw mo siyang tikman dahil nga sabi nila, uy, gawa sa pusa yan. So, yun. Isa sa mga pinakasikat na urban legend ng 90s. Diba? Am I right? Sino sa
Yeah.
yung hindi kumain ng siopaw ng bata?
Yun yung bad trip eh. Dahil, let's say, one of the favorite namin ni Erpat, ni Dad, dati, yung merienda, yung mami and siopaw from that particular restaurant.
Oh,
Kasi
yes.
nasabihan kung saan nagaling, So, paborito ko yun. So, paano yun? And they would explain, kaya ganyan yung amoy. Diba? Kaya ganyan, kasi pusa yung ginagamit. Pero bigla
Tsaka, naubos daw yung mga cats dun sa place na yun. Kaya doon start yung
sa mga areas yun, walang pusa. Kaya wala. Kaya perpetuate. Pero, paano yun? Favorite ko to eh. Paano? Tapos may pet cat pa ako dati. So, paano yung favorite ko? Okay na.
Yung burger patty daw.
Yeah, so si Chastity Torres, sinabi niya yung burger patty na gawa sa worms.
Sa worms.
Actually, yeah.
I was actually thinking about that rin eh. In fact, may parang text joke na umiikot eh. Parang please pass, be informed that this particular restaurant serves yung burger patties nila gawa sa earthworms. Thank you very much, please pass. Tapos yung gumawa ng message, yung mascot ng kalaban nilang restaurant.
it's
Thank
a
you very
campaign.
much.
Pero the irony of that,
Grabe.
no? 20 years, 30 years after, we're doing that. Kumakain tayo ng burger out of worms kasi it's been proven na it's healthier
Healthy
now.
pala.
Healthy protein.
Protein, protein siya. Well, siguro yung worms na I think they're
Cultured.
cultured.
Yeah, vermiculture or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Hindi yung nasa
Right.
ground lang tapos kainin.
Hindi naman.
So yung nung actually hanggang ngayon hindi ako makain ng bola-bola. Because it was really ingrained, it was really ingrained. Well, ako kasi selective naman yung naging urban legend. Parang sabi nila, hindi yung bola-bola. Ano yung mas kahawig ng pusa ba para sa'yo? Di ba bola-bola? So, okay. So, hindi ako kain ng bola-bola. Asado lagi. Gusto ko din pula lagi yung yung pink, di ba? Pink or pula yung nasa taas, ganyan. Pero hindi ako kumakain ng bola-bola hanggang ngayon. Because of that. And you can say na parang it really affected my behavior. Yung eating behavior, di ba?
Tama.
So, ganun ka-powerful minsan yung mga chismis na ganyan.
Ayun. So, ang ating number 1, ang nanalo sa ating survey, syempre, walang iba kundi ang Robinson's Half Man, Half Snake na sumika talaga siya noong 90s because of a certain celebrity who were allegedly naging victim ni Robinson. So, yun, it started out as a parang chismis, di ba, na yung Gokong Wei family daw ay kaya nila ginawa yung Robinson's Galleria is para maging playground nung mutant offspring nila na allegedly din ay
Attorney, is it okay to say these things? Allegedly. Ginamit naman niya allegedly.
Allegedly, di ba?
Yeah.
Yun. And ang funny nito kasi para in the recent years naglabas sila ng ad together with that actress. Parang that na yung team niya is parang kunwari may susunod sa kanya tapos nagpunta siya ng fitting room. Irony talaga, nakakatawa. Ayun. So yun, malamang kayo guys narinig niya nung araw kasi who doesn't, diba? Diba, Mark, Sir JP and Jacob, narinig niya nung araw.
Yeah.
Oo naman, that mall is tambayan namin halos yun eh, from
malapit sa
LSG.
school.
So isa yun sa mga tambayan namin.
Correct.
Wala namang weird thing na na-experience ka dun, sir, nung nagpupunta ka dun sa mall no 90s.
Wala naman, pero weird nga, parang siguro panakot yun talaga sa amin. Not sa school, pero siguro ibang magulang. Ako, hindi ako tinakot, pero alam mo siguro, feeling ko panakot yan na ibang magulang na o para hindi masyadong palagi mag-kid, mag-game gumimik para hindi Kasi iba sa amin doon, well, high school na yun, pero ibang high school, doon nagyoyosi eh. Tumatake siya.
Ay,
Layo ng Yosin.
Hindi. I think what you mean is that's where you meet the povedans, di ba? So, di ba? I mean, yun talaga, yung tambayan ng mga povedans, di ba? So, as also, ang tawag dito yung as part of like yung that belt of schools, I studied in a certain Chinese school in San Juan. Ano rin, daanan namin yun, Vera Mall and then also Galleria. Galleria, I remember when it opened, ano siya, sobrang ito yun yung unang gift gate. Nandun yung, yung unang gift gate na merong Lego na pirate ba yun or something. Basta it's a huge, di ba, remember that? And I think, I let me quote si Oscar Wilde, no? Si Oscar Wilde, he said na, the only thing that's worse than being talked about is not being talked about. So, any publicity is actually, whether it's bad
Good.
publicity,
Yeah.
may ahas, ganyan. Kasi it really draws the attention to, parang what's this new place? What's up with the snake? Tingnan nga natin kung meron sa Pilipinas. So, for sure, it might have been a marketing thing na, parang to get foot traffic, di ba?
And galing, like what you mentioned, di ba, after all these years, for one of their promos, they were still able to use that and actually use the actress.
Yes.
It wasn't like you mentioned, di ba? It's good.
Yeah, di ba? They weren't overt about it. Hindi naman nila sinabi per se na they were referring to the snake, di ba? But it's like a private, it's like a little joke, di ba? Na parang alam namin kung ano actually yan, di ba? Sir Jacob, do you have thoughts?
Actually, more of curiosity kasi yun yung time na sikat si Ninja Turtles. So, for me, it's more of an amazement na parang, gusto kong makita yun. Rather than, kasi taga-south tayo so medyo malayo si Robinsons, hindi natin masyado napupuntahan. So, parang, if there's a rare chance na mapuntahan yon and given yung kasikatan ni Ninja Turtles ng time na yon, parang it's more of, shit, gusto kong makita. Rather than matakot.
Correct. Yeah.
Gusto mo pang explore kasi 'di ba tayong mga batang 90s medyo tayo imaginative tayo.
Imagine. Tapos 'di ba yung mga time na yun? Yung time na yun uso pa yung mga boom na boom and Star City. So
Payanig sa
parang
Pasig.
Payanig sa Pasig.
Sa inyo, Big Bang sa Alabang.
Big Bang. So
Big Bang.
May mga variety shows sila na parang may I would say na parang forgive me for the word, freak show parang ganon.
Yeah.
Yung concept ng half man half snake parang it's more of gusto ko makita yun. At least
It's a novelty, correct.
Correct.
Tama. Ayun. So, yun yung ating top 5 na napili para dito sa episode na to na urban legend na talaga namang pinag-usapan. Hanggang ngayon, pinag-uusapan pa din siya. Kahit sa makitang kwentuhan, inuman, nababalikan at napag-uusapan siya. So, kayo, guys, bilang batang 90s, aside from those, yung 5 nabanggit, ano pa yung mga naalala nyo or na pwede nyo i-share sa mga listeners and sa mga viewers natin na urban legend dito sa Metro Manila or kahit sa probinsya na naalala nyo?
Mukhang nagbaon tayo ng mga kasabog So, anybody can just start.
Yeah.
JP or Jacob?
Jacob, baka parang excited ka sabihin yun?
Hindi naman. At the top of my mind siguro yung Balete Drive. Di ba, may multo daw na nakikita doon. Kasi at first, akala ko non-existent place siya. Tapos lang siya, parang movie lang siya. Parang yun yung naisip ko. Tapos, sometime siguro bago maging high school, pumunta ko ng QC, may Balete Drive nga naman. And, knowing na merong...
Sa New Manila,
knowing na merong ganong urban legend, parang sa buong stretch ng dinrive namin sa Balete Drive, naghahanap ako ng ng babaeng nakaputi. Ng white lady. Kasi parang,
Right.
sabi nila, may white lady.
Baka iba yung ma-pick up mo dyan.
Nako, ops.
Ibang street yan.
Oo.
Iba yun.
Abante ka ng konti. Abante ka ng konti, may happy doon.
Ops. Okay.
May happy.
Happy.
Oo. Ayun.
Natin yun. Joke lang. Pero yun nga, so naghahanap ako ng white lady doon. Ang sabi nila, nasa mga puno daw. So, every time na, syempre, if you've been to Balete drive, pag nakadaan na kayo doon, so medyo I would say, parang village na medyo sheltered. Ang dating is may mga puno na malalaki. And I think balete nga talaga ang tawag sa kanya. I mean, ngayon ko na lang siya nalaman tapos naghahanap ako dun sa mga puno nung parang mga puting any sign of white to see if yun nga yung white lady. So yun, at least for Balete Drive yun. Tapos yung second, siguro not really an urban legend, more of parang kasi no 90s uso yung wrestling. One of the famous wrestlers back then, apart from Hulk Hogan, is Ultimate Warrior. So si Ultimate Warrior, di ba maskuladong tao yun, and so on and so forth. Ngayon, parang there was a rumor na namatay siya. Kasi bumalik siya sa wrestling, biglang lumiit yung katawan. Parang
I think I also parang napanood ko nga or narinig ko yan.
So lumiit yung katawan niya. Back then, paniwalang-paniwala ako. Ay hindi, makakapatid to. Ay hindi, parang kasi merong storyline back then. I believe for everyone's knowledge, wrestling is scripted. So FYI lang.
What? Teka lang yung
Urban legend yan.
Hala,
Seryoso?
teka lang, maghahampas lang ako ng chair,
Ako biglang tulog yung nag-what.
Si Ultimate Warrior yun.
So may storyline yun na kinukulam siya. So it added more to the belief na parang ay baka patay na nga and this is not the real Ultimate Warrior. Again, hindi ko pa alam na fake yung wrestling nung panahon na yun. So parang sobrang paniwala ako doon. Pero since with the dawn of technology, internet, research, siyempre, it turned out na it was more of a steroid scandal with wrestling back then. So kailangan niya
Yung doping issue, I see.
And lumiit yung muscle mass niya and all. Pero back then, paniwala ako. They got me there.
Oo, tama, nalala ko yan. Isa sa mga iniyakan ko yan ng bata ko kasi kala ko talaga totoong patay na siya. Tapos, isa sa mga favorite wrestler ko yun. Ito sabi niyo nung mga kalaro ko parang, namatay siya kasi binuhat niya si Andre the Giant, pumutok yung muscles niya. Namatay na siya. And I was like,
Nag-aneurysm siya gano'n, naluslos, ganyan.
Yun yung story behind it.
Ayun.
Maybe I'll just add something dun sa sa Balete, no. So it was mentioned sa comments na meron ng one Balete at the end of the Balete Drive. So it's really funny how the term is to sublimate yung nasa sublimate yung certain stories and it becomes like kunyari like naging commercial yung yung the Galleria Snake or parang nagkaroon ng condo that's actually one balete, but if you go back like nung dun sa 90s nakakatakot talaga siya. So just maybe a background kasi I used to work for an NGO that preserves trees. So the balete is actually a ficus tree and talaga siya, it's really known as or parang yung meron siyang mga branches, 'di ba, na parang yung parang may mga parang vines siya na and parang sa probinsya sinasabi na pinagbabahayan siya ng laman lupa or some spirits ganyan. And I think to an extent parang yung preservation of these trees also was tied with the stories the story of a white lady, ganyan. Puputulin mo ba yun kung alam mo na merong, di ba, may spirit dyan. So,
Parang matatakot ka na.
yeah, yun. So, yun, isang insight lang about it. Yun.
Wait, totoo talaga siya. Sorry I mean, hanggang ngayon, curious mind ko.
Oo.
Well, we don't know.
I mean, may ano siya, may parang basis for truth kaya nila na isip na meron talaga, no?
Or parang siguro yung mga nakatira doon ayaw na magpadaan masyado ng mga
kaya
vehicles,
sinabi
kaya
nilang-
ginawa nilang
Pwede.
place para ano.
Pwede.
Kasi medyo
That's very
exclusive
sharp.
din yung ano na yun Puro malalaking bahay dun Somewhere in Broadway, di ba?
Tama. That's very sharp. That's a sharp like observation.
Yeah.
That's true.
How about you, Sir JP? Any urban legend na pwede mo i-share na parang narinig mo rin nung bata ka growing up in the 90s?
Ito actually dalawa rin, pero nauna na discuss na natin yung worm burgers. That's one naalala ko. Another one, kind of related rin, white lady din, pero not sa Balete Drive, but rather sa Luacan Road. Hindi ba yung sa Baguio naman?
Yeah, oo.
Ito, parang may somewhat first-hand experience ako. Yung syempre, yung one summertime, yung parang kinukwento sa amin yung yaya ng friend ko, yung house where we stayed sa Baguio. So ayun yung kinukwento niya palagi. So one time, sige, punta nga tayo dun. So yung driver nila, drove us there. Tiluakan na spot. And then later on, may nagpapakita na white lady, and then parang nagloloko daw yung mga kotse habang nandun. So we sat in a particular spot, and then true enough, parang nag-flash yung nag-stop yung car. Tapos yung yung nag-flash yung headlights, parang ganun. Syempre, at that time, yung isip namin, sobrang natakot kami. But later on,
Scary.
parang doon na-realize, parang pinagtripan lang kami ng driver na yun.
Parang nanakot lang. Tinakot lang kayo.
Pwede.
From that experience, naging gago rin ako. So, naging one of my moves ko yun. So, parang once, yung isang trip ko, nasa likod, nasa backseat. Ng backseat. So, biglang, hinahatid ko yung ibang buong barkada pa uwi. Sa cemetery din. So, nag-stop by ako sa may cemetery. So, pinatay ko yung ilaw. So, pinatay ko yung lahat ng ilaw. At para right to the cemetery. Ayun. So parang sira din interesting yan. Using blood to strengthen
cement.
I have never heard that. Wow. Well, anybody know something about that?
Ayun. Yes, thank you for mentioning that. Alala ko rin, we used to scare my brother actually, na parang, in fact, they say yung San Juanico Bridge, White So Strong, marami daw sinacrifice na dugo. Hindi na yung tinatakot yung kuya ko, panakot yun.
Ang haba nun, di ba? This is the bridge that connects Leyte and Samar, right? Tama ba?
Oo.
So, yun yung nila parang superstitious belief nila na magiging matibay yung construction kapag nag-alay ka ng dugo ng bata. Kaya yung mga bata nung araw, di ba, hindi pinamalabas.
Parang ganun tinatakot yung kuya ko.
Mukha ni Mark.
Matatakotin ako, guys. Sorry.
Pag lalabas, Mark, baka may kumuha sa'yo.
Asan na yung lolo ko tsaka yung buntot pagi? Asan na? Grabe. Well, thank you for yun sa viewer natin for mentioning that, no. So ako naman I'm going to share. Ibabalik ko sa Baguio. So this is something to do with the Yamashita treasure. So, I'm not here to say it's true or not, no? But basically the Yamashita treasure is something, it's like ito yung na-hoard na riches na ni General Yamashita during World War II. And it's said to be, a really huge sum, and actually like gold bricks and everything. Ngayon, a friend of mine, ito na naman tayo sa friend of mine, yung brother niya. Yung brother niya,
friend of mine, brother
na brother na pinsan ng pusa ng isa, di ba? So, ang pangalan nung building is the Patria de Baguio. It's in Session Road. It's where the Jollibee, may Jollibee doon eh. Medyo malapit siya doon sa papuntang cathedral. Doon sa the building before that was erected, so it was, it's, of course, in, way back then, Patria de Baguio, if I remember. Yung brother niya saw a Japanese looking man. He was, he was wearing rags. And the man, lumakad siya sa isang parang siguro culvert, or basta merong parang yung kanal, may kanal doon sa ilalim nung where that building was. And then of course the water was flowing and everything. The man in rags reached down doon sa ilalim ng culvert or nung parang kanal. Tapos may kinuha siyang dalawang brick looking things. So, we know that, Baguio was once like, of course, yung kung saan nag-retreat din yung one of the retreats of the Japanese. So, parang yun ang mga haka-haka nila. Actually, there are plenty of stories eh. May dalawa pang kwento, but it will take a lot of time. But people are actually saying na it's real. And of course, it's being promised as, yung parang the cure-all for all the problems of the country because, money supposedly solves everything. Pero those stories are actually very much alive, like, na may totoong Yamashita treasure. So, I have the number 2 story. Ito yung urban legend that yung mga taong grasa, or at least, yung mga migrants, yung mga nakatambay sa and of course I don't want to make fun of them. I know their sufferings and we have to be sensitive about that. Pero yung urban legend is na they are actually military operatives. So ang narinig kong kwento is that yung parang naka-work ko, well, I worked in Batanes before. Yung naka-work ko doon na nurse, matanda na rin siya. Sabi niya na when she was growing up, there was this man or yung taong grasa na nandun sa plaza sa Ilocos to eh. Tapos nandun lang siya, and nagdo-drawing sa lapag, yung nagmamath or something ganyan. Ng mga stick, ganyan. And for decades, he was there, dun sa plaza na yon. One day, a helicopter arrived dun sa plaza. Lumapag yung helicopter. And then, lumabas yung nasa helicopter. Tumayo yung nakatambay sa plaza na taong grasa. Sumaludo siya at sinaludo siya nung mga nasa helicopter. And they took him in. Right? They took him dun sa helicopter and then they pulled him out. Siguro tapos na yung operasyon or whatever. So, it always crosses my mind, of course it's very conspiracy theory. But one time may nakita akong, yung usual na nakikita ko na like greaseman. And I tried to give him food, no? Tapos yung food na to parang nakita ko kasi siya, tapos parang bumili yata ako sa isang like fast food. Tapos talagang sabi ko, sige, bibilang ko siya ng full meal. I tried giving him yung isang value meal, tapos gumano na siya. Hindihan niya. So parang sabi ko,
hindi pala siya,
yes, no shelter. Parang sabi ko, which, para sa akin, baka may katotohanan. Maybe not all of them. But, diba, the hide in plain sight, diba, gano'n naman ang isang military,
correct,
belief, or military, like, tactic. So,
ayun. Sabi nga ni,
ayun.
Sabi ni Chastity,
Yeah.
parang John Wick lang ang mga taong grasa.
Correct. Actually, nung pinag-uusapan natin siya actually out of the urban legends na pinag-uusapan natin ngayon, yung binanggit mo ngayon yung parang pinaka-believable na pwedeng mangyari. Kasi, I mean, dun nga sa comment nung isang watcher natin, yung may scene sa John Wick na parang nagpapanggap siyang beggar. Si John Wick biglang lumapit sa kanya, parang binigyan niya siya ng coin, take me to yung character ni Lawrence Fishburne. Tapos tinago siya
Correct,
ng
correct.
nung beggar,
Oo.
tapos parang nag-a-act siya, tapos biglang binaril yung dalawang lalaki na parang akala yung parang mga assassin.
Oo.
So, parang may
Tama.
Ano pala sila?
yung binanggit yung
Spy or
story pa na,
something.
out of the stories na pinag-usapan natin, yun yung parang pinaka-sense. Pwedeng pinaka-totoo. Yun ang
Oo.
Yeah, pwede, di ba?
Di ba sa ano
Oo.
nga, sa mga movies, di ba sila yung mga magbabalot, mga spy pala yun, mga ganun, mga ano lang sila.
Oo.
Yun, that's, actually, totoo yan, yung mga magbabalot. Kasi nung bata ako, yung dad ko, barangay chairman sa amin, and my half-brother is a police. So, meron silang mga planted talaga na magbabalot sa lugar namin to check for kasi yung dad kumuntik nang ma-assassinate yun before. So, nagpa-plant sila ng mga magbabalot, yung mga ng Yossi, tapos mga pulis sila or mga asset pala sila. Totoo yun, totoo pala yun.
Yeah. Oo.
Ayun.
My God.
So, ang dami nating pwedeng pag-usapan ng mga urban legend, no? Ako, ang sa mga tumatak sa isip ko, yung kasi mahilig ako sa music eh. Yung kanta ni Eraserheads na Spolarium. Until now, di ba, parang inaano siya eh. Sabi nila parang based doon daw to sa isang event, sa isang malagim na event na nangyari sa isang actress na, ayun. So, yung Spolarium na kantang to, parang even in UP, di ba doon nag-start yung urban legend na hinimay nila yung lyrics para lang masabi na yung bawat lyrics na yun ay based dun sa event. So, isa yun sa mga urban legend na naalala ko na until now, nakikita ko sa mga forums, na pag-uusapan kada may mga nagkukumpulan na magbabarkada or lalo sa mga gigs na pinupuntahan namin. Natatanong siya. And based naman dun sa kakilala namin ni Jacob na who previously worked with Eraserheads, it's really just an inuman session. That the story is really about an inuman session talaga. Oo.
So basically,
Parang
alam niyo yung Polarium na painting, di ba, na parang kinakalat ka ni General Luna.
Right.
So, bottom line, so sobrang kalasingan, parang ganun yung itsura.
Parang kinakaladit mo yung lasing na kabarkada mo, parang gano'n. So, yun. Ayun. At dahil dyan, sabi nga ni Darwin Campaner, binabackmash yung mga kanta ng E-Heads dati. Nalala ko yun kasi di ba parang may satanic daw.
Satanic daw siya.
Oo. Which is, kapag binakmas mo naman ng kahit anong cassette tape, talagang may iba yung tunog, di ba? So, ang funny ng mga urban legend nun. Ayun. So, may isa pa siyang sinabi, yung yung mga kisses pag binalot sa bulak, mga nganak. Ako ginawa ko yan. Ginawa ko yan ng bata ako. Syempre, babae, diba? So, ginawa ko siya, hindi naman siya nanganak. Umasa ako eh. Umasa ako nung bata ako.
Tinry ko yun eh, lalagyan mo sa bulak yun, tapos
Oo. Bakit hindi dumami? Parang hindi siya nanganak. Ayun, nakakatawa. Pag binalikan mo yung mga kasabihan o yung mga kwentong bayan nung 90s, talagang yung iba ka paniwala until now, ginagamit pa rin siyang panakot sa mga kabataan ngayon. Ang dami na rin mga discussion about those urban legends na masarap talaga siyang pag-usapan. So, with that said, tatanungin ko kayo, no, my co-host Mark and our guest, Sir JP and Jacob. As batang 90s or as mga kids growing up in the 90s era or decade, ano yung masasabi nyo or ano yung intake nyo or personal say or lesson learned sa mga urban legends na nabanggit natin na alam mo yung tumatak talaga sa inyo personally and nagkaroon ng impact sa inyo as growing up as a kid. Anyone can share and go ahead.
Or JP.
I see. Basically for me, how powerful stories really are. Na they can really affect you, na they can shape your life, they can shape behavior. Na it just shows how powerful stories are, and which is why we should use them to the very best we can, diba? It's not decided say to protect people or at least initially protect them when they still can't understand certain things.
Right,
But in the
right,
long
right.
run, it really shapes you. It's to really help them make sure that the story does not destroy them as people. But the
Right,
story
right.
should ideally build you, di ba, as people, it's build discipline, build respect for boundaries, build respect
Right,
for
right.
knowing when to do things. Parang gano'n. Basta it's how powerful stories really are. They can shape you and
Yeah.
they can make
Yeah. Very well
That's the
said,
urban
Sir
legend.
That's
JP.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
really wonderful. That's a really responsible take on urban legends, no? Yes, Sir Jacob.
I actually agree with what Sir JP said, no. Siguro add lang ako ng parang apart from that, you develop a healthy dose of skepticism as well.
Yes.
Not to believe everything that you hear because
Right.
unless you triple source them or something and there's
Right, right,
really
right.
evidence, even though this might be a hot take, pero even though it's from an authoritarian uh, figure saying those stories,
Mm-mm.
parang have a healthy dose of skepticism. Don't
Yeah.
believe everything they hear immediately. Parang,
Yeah.
have doubt first. I mean, it's not bad naman to doubt. Kasi I mean, like, nung bata ako, I mean, I've been believing those stories and it was ingrained in me. It shaped me as
Mm,
well. And parang some of them were not true pala. It made me feel stupid. Parang ba't ako naniwala?
mm.
So parang having a healthy dose of skepticism will always help.
Yeah.
No, lalo na sa panahon ng fake news, right? I mean, and like how I described it,
Exactly.
the kids now, because of technology, di ba? The
Yeah, with what you
knowledge is
said a while
actually
ago,
right. The knowledge is actually at your fingertips, di ba? You have no excuse to not know. So
correct.
yeah, I mean that's a really powerful ano. So I'll jump in naman. Ako kasi I will quote one of my favorite franchises, Transformers. Yung more than meets the eye, no? There's a sentiment among map makers na parang nung na map na nila or at least yung na map na nila yung the known world. Pero may sadness sa mga cartographers or like the map makers kasi parang wala nang misteryo, 'di ba? But if you
Yeah.
have certain stories, certain urban legends that there are things beyond the surface. Like kunyari, it's just a mall, but meron palang maze sa loob kung saan nakatira ang isang giant mutant snake, right? And, di ba, giant mutant billionaire snake. Actually. So what I like about urban legends, though sometimes of course it causes misinformation, suffering, and it affects people, is that it keeps things interesting. It keeps the city interesting. Akala mo kasi porque nasa syudad ka, the concrete, pag nilagyan mo na yan ng konkreto, ano na yan, parang wala na. It's boring, But actually, if you have stories underneath that surface, it makes you think, di ba? Parang it allows you to question, it allows you to imagine that there is something beyond what we see. And then that's what I like about this topic, really. Parang there is ika nga sa Naruto, it's about seeing underneath the underneath. Kumbaga, there are things under, what we see. Kaya.
Tama. Yeah.
Agree.
So, agree. Yun. So, ako naman, ang take ko dyan is yung nung growing up, believing on those urban legends or hearing those urban legends, natuto tayong sumunod sa mga nakakatanda. Pag sinabi nilang huwag kang lalabas ng bahay or huwag kang basta pupunta sa ganyang lugar. Kasi in the back of your mind, nandun yung mindset mo na, ay, nga, baka nga may kumuha sa akin tapos ialay yung dugo ko sa kung ano mang kinoconstruct dyan, di ba? So, susunod ka, yung as batang 90s, natuto tayong sumunod sa mga elders natin because of those urban legend. Nakatulong din siya in some way. Nakatulong siya in a way na masayang pag-usapan. Alam mo yon yung pag mga kaklase mo or mga kalaro mo na nag-uusap kayo. Nakatulong siya dahil it shape you up as a person. Dahil ngayon nga, marunong tayong sumunod sa mga habilin or sa mga sinasabi sa atin na mga matanda. And then at the same time, natuto tayong talagang mag-research. Kasi, di ba, growing up, wala tayong internet.
Right.
Pero nung nagkaroon ng internet, sinaliksik natin yung mga urban legend na nakalakihan natin. Tapos yung iba nga, di ba, nagkakaroon pa ng documentaries, talagang binalikan talaga nila yung kahit na napakalumang urban legend na siya, di ba? So, yun yung isa sa mga natutunan ko or parang personal ko dun sa mga urban legend natin nung dekada 90 and pababa. Ayun. So, guys, it's another good topic that we have. And before we go, thank you Sir JP, thank you Jacob for joining us.
Thank you guys.
Sana
Yeah.
maka-join ulit kayo sa
Sa uulitin ha, sa uulitin. Kwentuhan ulit tayo.
Please join us again. And shout out muna dun sa mga viewers natin, Ian, Goku-san, Darwin, Chastity, Beatrice, salamat sa panonood nyo. Matchaw, Guapito, ayan, salamat sa pagsubaybay nyo sa aming podcast. And again,
salamat.
Thank you for jamming with us. And thank you rin sa aking co-host na si Mark. And Mr. George, we miss you today, but see you next week.
Yeah.
And thank you for jamming with us. And again, tune in next week as we discuss other exciting 90s pop culture topics. You can watch the replays of this show and other episodes you may have missed through Min TV or listen to the podcast available through Anchor FM, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Okay? So, again, guys, hope you enjoy the show and please stay at home, keep safe, and have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye, guys!
Happy weekend! Bye-bye!
Happy weekend!